Good evening, Moonbasers. I just wanted to talk to you about one of my favourite comic annuals when I was a kid. Fantastic annual 1968 with the mighty Thor on the front. On the inside cover you've got the main characters: Colossus, Iron Man, the X-Men, the original grouping, Doctor Strange and Thor. This isn't the book I had as a kid. I bought this in a charity shop for £2. I remember every story vividly, and the first one is when Magneto strikes. Absolutely brilliant. Totally brilliant story. It looks to me, the comic art looks like Steve Ditko, but I'd have to check on that. It is a brilliant story. I do remember every cell of the strip vividly. I must have read it a million times when I was a kid. You've got Magneto, obviously, planning to take over the world. He builds like a submarine with a tree on it. You've got the mighty Thor very inconveniently turning into his alter ego halfway through, so he gets trapped when he loses his hammer. Fantastic story, brilliant colouring. I so remember that particular little image there of Magneto escaping in his escape craft. It's funny, isn't it, what you remember. This is a really interesting story, the Temple of Zentaca. Now it's all about a dad and his son trying to get to an ancient temple, like an Aztec ruin. But the real star of the strip is a huge rifle called the Python. Here you have it. Now the Python is Johnny 7. There's no way around it. It is Johnny 7. It doesn't say that, but it's being held by a boy. It's in 1968, this annual, and it looks like Johnny 7. It does everything that Johnny 7 can do. It's got armour piercing shells. It looks just like it. It makes mincemeat of tentacled monsters, as no doubt a Johnny 7 would have done. Absolutely brilliant. I love it. The Python is the Johnny 7. What a bit of product placement that was. Get an entire strip written around it. I wonder if Topper actually chucked him a few quid to get it done. Next comes a story called The Fugitives. A text story which I'll have left till the very end. Like most kids, I preferred comic strip to text stories. The interesting thing about these creatures is that they've got teeth which you could buy in toy shops. Again, is that product placement? I had a set of those red gum teeth. The next story, which again I'm pretty sure is Steve Ditko, is The Man Who Hated Monstro. A salutary tale in the sort of EC style of comics of how not to annoy a giant ape. And there it is, getting his vengeance on the guy that was been horrible to him, the trapeze artist. Then you come to the next Marvel story, the original X-Men Beware of the Blob. Did you call me a blob? Springs to mind. Fantastic story. You've got the Iceman, you've got Jean Grey, you've got the Blob, who once he's stationary cannot be moved by anything. The Blob wants to take over the X-Men, thinks he's far better than a lot of them put together. Obviously he finds out different. Got a great picture of the Beast, old Hank reading books, fantastic artwork. Okay, it's done in a sort of red colour scheme, but that didn't bother me as a kid, don't bother me now. It's a great story, lots and lots of detail. And then you have got what is definitely a Steve Ditko story. I mean, I recognise his style from Creepy and Eerie comics. I mean, exactly the same faces and spiky hair, and just the general movement that he manages to get out of line drawing. This is called I Used to Be Human. Brilliant little story on the planet Rago, where if you eat a certain fruit, you go from that to that. Not a good idea, but they're extremely happy. Then you come to a story called Colossus, which is about a animating ray, really. It's a torch which can bring inanimate objects to life, including a huge statue of the Greek god Colossus, who goes on to help his master deal with the evil forces besieging him. Some fantastic gigantic wasp action. Colossus whacks 'em. Then you've got another tech story, the Invaders. Again, I'll have left that till the end. I've only recently reread it. Then you're coming up to the end of the annual now. You've got Iron Man versus Doctor Strange. You've got Iron Man in his original clunky, non-streamlined armour. This is the yellow version. There is a brown version, isn't there? Pitted against Doctor Strange. All the usual Iron Man iconography. You've got him blasting off into space. You've got him taking direct hits right in the chest. You've got him burying and burrowing through the ground, and ultimately he prevails, as Iron Man should do. I like at the end of this, the owner of this, a guy called Paul Thorpe, who obviously donated it to a charity shop where I got it, has turned the word Thor into Thorpe, which is exactly the sort of thing I would have done. Okay, that's the back inside cover. You've got Thor on the back. What a fantastic annual. 1968 Christmas. I was there. Okay, till next time, Merry Christmas.